Hey guys, we have a lot of tools here that I use on a daily, if not weekly basis to help prepare me for class. And these are great for taking care of injuries, just getting my body moving, getting a little bit of rehab stuff in. And what I wanted to show you is how almost this can get taken care of with just one foam roller. Now, these of course have a lot of specialty uses for them. I love the lacrosse ball and I've learned to fall in love with this thing. This is fantastic. But all you really need if you're starting is this, and this is going to help you get ready for class. It's going to help you rehab a lot of those injuries, and it's just going to make you enjoy yourself a lot more. Now, if you had to pick two things to do, lacrosse ball, foam roller. These things are awesome. You could almost get everything you need done in a foam roller. Some of this stuff gets a little bit more specialty. This obviously is very specialty, but man, it hits some really, really great spots. But if you look at bang for your buck, what, a $5 ball and a $10, $15 foam roller, it's going to cover a lot of your bases. So we're going to move some of these things out of the way. If you're looking, we've got a couple different kinds of foam rollers. And actually, I got another one down here too. This is a really good one. This is a travel one. And what I enjoy about this travel one is just takes up a lot of space, or saves a lot of space. So I got my lacrosse ball, got my roller. It's hollow on the inside, but a strong plastic shell. Okay, that's really important. Don't get the cheap ones. You can find some really like $10, $15 ones like this with a hard plastic shell in the middle. The shell's not heavy enough. I just cracked one of them the other day. Thought I'd save some money. Bungee straps or bands are great, and then lacrosse ball. So usually this is my tournament prep kit. Go to another club or maybe traveling. This thing is fantastic. But if I had the choice of what one I would stick to on an almost daily basis, it'd probably be this one. What I like about it, it's got some nice texture on it, and what that helps with is my mats are a little bit slippery, slide around. So if I use this one, although it's a lot softer, and if you're new, this is a great one to get into because it's soft. This one hits some nice little trigger points and has nice grip to the mat. This one is a little bit more dense. I can squish this one, so if I'm having a hard day, this one's still fine. If I'm having a rough day, this one's a little bit too much. And this one is for those special days where I really need some extra attention. For you guys, if you're new to foam rolling, this is all you need. It's simple, it's cheap, and I'm gonna show you how to use it, okay? Okay, so before we go over on how to use this thing, we're gonna go over on what not to do with this thing. This is great for taking care of a lot of injuries and preventing injuries and getting you all warmed up and ready for class. But if you're not doing it right, you could put some injuries, make things worse for you. So we're going to be careful about that. So one of the things is, it's a pretty simple one. Don't go too fast. Now, I'll give you a little demo of this is how fast you should be going. And that's what we're going to follow in our workout. And this is a demo of like, this is definitely too fast. And sometimes you'll see people doing that. Now, if you're just kind of before class, you're not really sure what spots they hit and you kind of want to roll through it a little bit quicker, that's fine. Just kind of find those spots that you need to put attention in, that's great. And if you find something that needs some attention, make sure you take some time with it. You don't have to make it super extreme, but 60 seconds to 2 minutes for a really tender spot is fine. Likely you're going to be around that 30 seconds per group that we're working on. Another thing we got to be careful of is don't roll over your joints. Okay, so usually when we're taking care of rolling muscles out, we want to go on the muscle. We don't want to go over arteries. We don't want to go over our crossing joints. Okay, so you'll see some, when we get into the shoulders, we're working that specific area, but we're not going to go all the way across joints. We're going to focus on smaller areas, and we got to be mindful of some of those arteries in your armpits and your hip flexors. Something that I see a lot of people doing is rolling over their lower spine, their lumbar area. And we got to be really careful about that. Your back is supported with your rib cages. So rolling your upper back is really, really good. And your chest is great. And even your stomach is great. But that lower spine, that's not really a place you need to focus on. If you're going to get the sides of your back, that's a little bit different, that lower back muscles, but avoid going straight back over on your spine, especially with the foam roller. It puts a little bit too much curve in your back. Okay, one that I'm guilty of doing for years until finding out what the problem was with it is IT bands. Now, in Muay Thai, we get kicked in the legs, so your legs get a little bit tender, and if you do a lot of running, a lot of cycling, you'll feel that tension in the side of your leg. That's something that you would normally think, hey, great, a foam roller is going to take care of that. And I did that for years. and the pain never really went away, you know, getting some of that knee pain, that's frustrating. And then found out that it's not your IT band at all. It's a tendinous-like structure, so you don't want to massage that. What it actually came into is working on my TFLs, so which we're going to do today, is opening that up and stretching those out a little bit, and then a lot of glute exercises to tighten your butt. So what usually happens is, well, what happens is at the top, your IT band is attached to your TFL and your glute muscles in your back. And if most people's butts are loose, or most people's butts are a little not so tight, right? So that tends to pull on the muscle a little bit, or pull the glute out, and the TFL tends to be very tight at the front. And that tension on your IT band is what causes the knee pain. So by stretching out your TFLs and by putting a little bit more glute focus into your rear, you're gonna get rid of that knee pain, which is surprisingly really fast. And there's a lot of great butt exercises that you can do that are gonna help you out with that. Another thing watch out for is, if you're gonna use this as a method to get yourself prepared for class, don't go too hard. This is just to kind of wake up the muscles, right? So if you find a spot that's really nagging you, like, you know, lately my front of my shoulders have been a little tight, I might spend a little bit more time there. But if you have the time to spend on it, great, but don't make it a, I'm gonna really grind this out now. Save those kind of foam rolling sessions for after your workout, okay? So put that time in there. This is mostly gonna be like, how can we get everything flowing so we're ready for class? And then the last one, and this is the one that I'm probably the most guilty of all of them, is I'm in pain. It's almost like an annual thing. I'm over 40, so I've been doing my rehab stuff, and it's like every year, same thing. Go through this cycle of rehab injuries, start to recover, get stronger, get faster, get in better shape, and then this thing goes away. Try to make a commitment to not stopping foam rolling, and that's where it's gonna get a little challenging, because if you're like me, I foam rolled because it was a means to just releasing pain, and which did great. And after about a month to 2 months, the pain went away. So then the foam roller goes away. And that's not really a great thing to be doing, and I know it, but it's, you know, we're always in a struggle of like putting more time into other things than ourselves sometimes. And what I'm hoping for is you can commit to just, even if it's 5 minutes of foam rolling. Today's workout is gonna be a whole body thing. Now, if you wanna pick and choose a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that's great. You're gonna focus on the areas that you need to work on. This is gonna be a complete full body thing. You're gonna get all your stuff done with the foam roller. You might even throw a lacrosse ball in for little parts of it. And then if you want something that's a little bit more like just quick and dirty, you will check out the link. We'll put a little something up here somewhere so that you can get like a 5-minute one just to get you prepped for class. But really the goal is get familiar with these exercises, how to make them work, and then when you're ready, you can start making your own little programs of what you think is important for you to hit. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so one thing that I'm really not good at when I'm doing the foam roller is that whole idea of sticking to 30 seconds. It's really depending on how my body part feels. So for today's little session that we're gonna do, I'm gonna break it up into 2 parts. We're gonna have a lower body and then an upper body. When we're doing this, I'm gonna put the timer on. I'm gonna be a little bit more diligent to 30 seconds. But when you're doing it at home, if you're going over a spot and you're like, I'm not feeling it here, switch to a spot where you might be feeling it a little bit more, where you can move on. And as you get, again, more comfortable with working with the foam roller and how to use it, then you're gonna be a little bit easier to make up your own little session, and you don't have to limit yourself to 30 seconds. It might take longer. And quite often, you know, I started maybe doing 30 seconds at a time per body part, and then now it's honestly probably close to a minute and a half. It really depends on what's bugging me per spot. So one last thing that I wanted to mention is when we're rolling, your muscles are fibers, right? So you're gonna join from one joint to another joint to another joint, and the grain of the muscles runs from joint to joint. So when we're rolling, think about rolling from one joint to another joint. Now we're not crossing over those joints, but we're gonna go in that direction. So it's just like if you're sanding wood, you wouldn't sand wood against the grain, you're gonna go with the grain, okay? So just keep that in mind. There's gonna be some movements, and then we're gonna try and stay with the lines of the muscle. So we're gonna start with our glutes, right on your butt, so you're gonna sit right on your foam roller. And as we go, I'll give little tips and things here. I'm gonna set that timer so we can be a little bit more on time for all this. Get ready, and there we go. So starting with our glutes, hands on the floor, and just go back and forth. Now, the foam roller I have is a little bit thinner, shorter, and I like that because I get to focus on one area. This is gonna be fine for you, but you're probably gonna like to put one hip on it or one butt cheek and then go front to back. And I prefer this far more. The only downside is now you got to roll both sides, but you're going to get way better foam rolling experience out of getting both sides like this. Oh, so that's already been 30 seconds. Let's get on to the other side. I do like rolling my glutes quite a bit, especially right about there. There's usually a little spot that I might spend more time on if we had more time. And you can see I'm spreading the weight over into my hands and my foot, so I'm not going to be like balancing on this foam roller. If you need a little bit more weight, you can prop yourself up a little bit higher, or using a softer foam roller is a great way to start. So now we're going to work over to our glute medes. So we're going to get onto our sides a little bit, side of your butt. You right there is where I can feel it, so I'll just spend a little bit more time there. Honestly, I would probably just sit here and then breathe for a little bit and relax, but we're just gonna stay moving through it. Remember, that's a get you warmed up and ready for class, not hit any injuries, not that I'm injured. Good, if you want to turn a little bit, this is a really good way. Oh, let's get up to the other side here. Adding a little bit of body movement, rolling, stretching your leg, straightening your leg in some of these positions will be really good. It's kind of, they call it flossing the muscle. So if you feel like going from side to side a little bit will work, that's fine. Especially your glute is more of a fan shape. It's not like really running in straight lines. Glute medius is more straight line, but your glute max is more opened up. Okay, so we're gonna be moving on to our hamstrings now. We're gonna get one hamstring at a time. So I'll get it up underneath you, and you're just going to roll front to back. Right. Now one thing that you could play with is turning your leg out or toes out, and then turning your toes in. And this is just going to hit different spots on your hamstring. Okay. Again, we don't want to roll over our knee. Oh, I just found a spot there. So I'll just stay there for a second. Good. All the way up. See if you can get all the way up to the leg. And that's already been more than 30 seconds. Like I said, once you start to play with it, you're going to want to do a lot more than just 30 seconds per body part. This is getting familiar with it. So again, if this was just before class, this is just more to kind of get me started. Get me ready. You got about 5 more seconds here before we move on. Okay, we're going to work on our abductors now. So inside the leg from here to here. So sometimes we get a pulled groin, whether it's from kicking or from jiu-jitsu, doing some guard work, and I've unfortunately had that lots. So again, we can turn our knee down and our foot up and roll a little bit, almost like we're getting into a quad. Careful that we're not going to lay on an artery. Okay, so you don't want to get too close. Keep going, we got a couple more seconds and we'll switch to the other side. Same thing. Roll back and forth. Try to keep a steady pace. And you're likely going to be adjusting the foam roller as you go. And just look for those spots that are a little bit tight. Oh, nice. We're going to get right on track here. Again, try not to roll into your knee, but get up into your hip. All right, now we're gonna get to our quad, so just roll right over it. When you're doing your quad, you can, again, all the way from your hip to just above your knee, and then you can bend your knee as you go too. So you can stretch your quad out, will help, and you can even move your knee, get some of that flossing, bend your leg as you go. So you can floss your quad, and definitely if you go a little slower you can find some spots. We got to move on to the next leg. Again, just getting prepped and ready for class. I go this way. There. Try some with your leg bent. It's going to stretch out your quad and then moving your leg. Oh, there, just turning my hip a little bit. Getting close to the ITs, but not on the ITs. The ITs will be like right where that line on my shorts are. Okay, so now we're gonna go TFLs. So TFL, right up in front of that hip. So find that spot just below your pelvic bone. Oh, there we go. So this is one that if you're having IT problems, the rolling on your TFL is probably gonna help quite a bit. If you wanna put more weight, take the weight off your hands. If you wanna be a little bit easier going, Keep your hands or even your elbows on the floor. Spread that weight out. But I can feel some tightness there. I'm going to try and stretch that out. Get the other side. Again, right below that pelvic bone, right in the front. That's what we're looking for there. So find that spot. Oh, this side's not as bad, which would make sense because my knee pain is in my right leg. Good. Just a little bit more, and then we're going to be working our way to our calves. Good. All right, calf muscles. Now this one can be, usually if you're doing this one, you won't feel too much. You can turn your toes in and out. Again, get sides of your calf. A lot of people will put their foot on. So if you're looking for a deeper one, for sure putting your foot on will add more pressure. If you're just getting ready for class, honestly, if you're in a hurry, this is probably one of the ones I leave out unless you did a lot of running and your calves are tight. If your calves are tight, this is good. You can put your leg on and double up on it. And we'll get the other side. And so if you're doing like a lot of skipping or jumping, probably gonna have those tight calves. So this is gonna help. If you want a little more pressure, go ahead. Nice. The sides, calves are feeling pretty good today, so we're just gonna kill that time. 5 more seconds, and then we're gonna work the front of our calves, or our dorsiflexors right in our tibias. All right, so right on the front here, foam rolling is great for this, especially the Muay Thai people, or those in Jiu-Jitsu doing a lot of ankle locks. You wanna stretch this out. So it's going front to back. We're gonna get the outside of the shin, and we're gonna get the inside of the shin. That was pretty quick. Inside, usually I'll just take my heel and then shove my heel down towards my ankle. And just get a couple passes about that. Only downside is if you're not sweaty, then it's gonna be a little unpleasant. Okay. Let's get that other leg. Again, just getting the outside of that calf. If you do find that's a tender spot, then spend more time there. Good, and then we're gonna get the inside, put that heel on and just slide it down. I like this one quite a bit. Next, we're gonna get our ankles. I'm gonna be right back. I left my lacrosse ball down there. So for the ankles, you can put a lacrosse ball on there and then turn your foot as you turn the lacrosse ball. This has been a very good one. I had a couple little ankle things. Some people smash this with a kettlebell. And I have tried that, but the lacrosse ball just fits really good right in this ankle, right behind the ankle and between the ankle and the heel. It's a really good spot to kind of open it up. And then let's get the other ankle. Same thing, I'm turning counterclockwise on my foot as my foot comes forward, and then turn it back as my toes come back. So I'm countering the rotation of my foot. This is probably a really good one for you guys if you're skipping a lot. Might be a little bit tight. Again, if you're going into some of these areas and you're like, nah, I'm not really feeling it, then don't waste the time on it. Pass over to something that might be a little bit more important. I'm sure you'll find one. Last little bit, foam roll your foot. Now, sitting down on it, it's probably not gonna put too much weight. You could put your other foot on it, and that's fine. A lot of people, and usually I'll just stand as I do this one. So, you know, it's up to you. Try to get the inside of the arch. Again, the foot, if I was gonna do a quick and dirty one, which you can see that link, you'll see like the feet and the ankles are probably like the first ones to go. Just hit the main muscle groups. If I only had 5 minutes, I'd do a much shorter routine. We're already spending, about 10 minutes on just legs, right? And then we got upper body. Let's switch, last 30, went a little bit long. Last little bit, other foot, finding that arch. Some spots you wanna dig out. There you go, 10 more seconds. Nice. All right, so if you found some spots and you want to go back and cover them again, now's a really good time to go over that. So that wraps it up for the lower body part. Now, if you want to continue on and find an area that was kind of lighting you up and then get back to that and try it again, that's great. Spend some time there. If you want to move on to the upper body part, that's coming right up. Okay, so now for the upper body, We're gonna be starting up with our lower back. Now remember I said we don't wanna roll on our spine, and this is just even uncomfortable to get into. You're gonna roll on the sides of it. So you wanna avoid that pressure on your spine. We're gonna put it beside your pelvic bone, and then just gonna roll the lumbar area, basically right up to your ribs, where your ribs are starting to come into place. So get ready, we'll get our clock, and 30 seconds, and let's go. Just, already I can feel it. This has always been a tender spot for me in my right lower back. So if you're having some tenderness, you can obviously put more weight on the floor. As you get more comfortable, you can relax into it and find that spot right there. And if you are fine, just keep moving. We've got a couple seconds and we'll get to the other side. In all honesty, I'd probably spend 45 seconds to a minute there. 30s doesn't seem to really do it justice. On to the other side. Oh yes, that's nice. Especially for getting ready for class, getting your back done is gonna really help a lot. Being able to be a little bit more mobile in your lower back and upper back is gonna be important. Go to 5 more seconds. We're gonna be working onto our upper back. Upper back's a little bit easier. Okay, so place it on your bottom ribs. Hug your body, and then you just go down, all the way up to your shoulders, and down. You can open your chest, and then come down, and then hug. Oh, there, I just had a crack. That's awesome. Oh, good. Back and forth. Now, your ribs have a lot of support for your upper back, and so rolling on your spine here isn't as bad. As long as you're not rolling like right on your spine, that's where the pressure ones can get a little tricky. But the foam ones are a little softer, is a little easier for you. So if you want to roll a little bit onto one side, oh, it's great. I'm really sure that was more than 30 seconds, and I could be here for another 30 easily. Okay, so we're going to go from there, get right into the back of our shoulder. Okay, now you can do this with the lacrosse ball. I just hit a nice spot right there. Oh, and that's getting into my lat area. Oh, just breathe for a second, enjoy. Good. Oh, and we want to get ready to go on the other side. So get that back of that shoulder. If you want to move your arm around as you're doing this, you might be able to find a little extra spot. When you get to the front of the shoulders, you'll really feel it. Oh, nice. Keep going. Yeah, I can feel it as I'm just getting into my lat, right by my shoulder blade there. A couple more seconds. Good, now let's get the front. Always have issues with the front. Usually I like the lacrosse ball, but you can do it with the foam roller. So you can get the front, with your hand down, move your arm around, and bring it up. Again, we're gonna watch we don't get into our armpit and get our lat or our arteries. But, oh, there you go, nice. Back and forth. If you wanna get a lacrosse ball, you can get the ball in there. It's definitely a lot harder, a lot more challenging. That would be good, I'll do it on the other side. If you're gonna do the lacrosse ball, that'd be a better after class kind of thing, because you can really dig into some sweet spots there. Oh, there we go. And then move your arm around once you find that spot, back and forth. The only downside is laying on the floor. It can be a little challenging to move your arm around. Right? So where the foam roller comes in, it's a little bit easier. And I can still feel that spot anyways. It's pretty tender right now. We're gonna go right away into our triceps. So just roll your triceps out. Now, again, if you're not looking for a whole body thing, you don't need to be rolling your triceps. Right? You can stretch your muscle. You can leave it extended so you get a little bit of flossing as you go. And extend in your arm. Right now, I'm not really feeling anything, so if I had an extra 30 seconds, I'd definitely go back to my shoulders instead. We'll get one side, and then we'll get the other side. And get that rolling. Bend that arm, stretch your tricep out. Nice, and back and forth, sliding. Usually, probably wouldn't spend 30 seconds on a tricep. 20, even 15 might be fine. But we'll stick to the 30 for right now. We're gonna be moving on from tricep now to bicep. So same thing, you can roll, you can turn your hand forward or up, or palm down, I guess, and then turn it palm up so you just can roll on your bicep head. And again, just keep an even speed. Biceps, triceps, they're not as big as a lot of the other muscles, so it's a little easier to go through them with less time, not necessarily faster, just spending less time on them. And let's get the other side. Good. Get that hand turning back and forth a little bit. Yeah, biceps are feeling pretty good. I haven't really done too much with them lately. Next, we're going to be working into the chest. That's always a fun one. Chest and the front of the shoulders always tend to be trigger points for myself. Good, so let's get right to it. Find that spot on their chest. This could be a little bit uncomfortable for ladies. Just kind of find a way that you can either disperse more weight on the floor or just be careful when you're doing it. Just kind of get right up in here, right? Get that underneath that chest muscle. There you go, and stretch it out. Whoop, there you go. As I get closer to my shoulder, I can definitely feel, but I can go hit that later. Just a couple more. And then other side. The upper body tends to go a little bit faster. When you see the quick and dirty one, you'll notice that we get through it quite fast. There's only a couple spots that are important to hit. But this is get the whole body parts going. Oh, I keep that shoulder too. Let's just stay on the chest for now. Last one's coming up, and that's our psoas, or our belly. And this one I've been enjoying a lot. It's been helping with my back pain and my knee pain. I'm gonna put half of the foam roller on my belly, and from here I can just relax. I don't have to roll as much. It's more of a smash. Oh, so you just lay on it. Sometimes you might take a ball, a little bigger than a softball, and you saw that little psoas, I don't know what the heck they call it, just a psoas thingy. That's been a new favorite of mine. Given the choice between that or this, I'd take the psoas thing, but this is a nice way to get through it. And same thing, other side, last 30 seconds. Let's find that spot, just so like my belly button's on the edge of that foam roller. Oh, there you go. And just relax and breathe. Obviously, if you're got a full bladder or you're 8, you're probably not going to enjoy this one that much. Definitely, you don't have to roll this. This is more of a sit and relax and smash it. And that is our 30 seconds. Nice work. So if you found anything that you're kind of bugging you a little bit, get back to that part. Do that one again for a little while until you feel some release. It usually, you got to try and breathe through it. So if you feel anything tight, then just relax, breathe through it, and then it'll go away. Okay guys, so in closing, this thing is going to be a lifesaver, especially if you have little nagging injuries or you find it takes a little extra of a warm up to get you going. This is what's going to help you out a lot. Now, it's not a miracle worker. Now, it's not a miracle worker, but it's pretty much the next best thing. The biggest things that if I could go back in time and tell myself is, one, don't do my IT bands, and be more consistent. It's, the injuries go away, so you're like, I don't need it anymore. The injuries are gone. But, try to make a commitment to at least 5 minutes a day. That doesn't mean 5 minutes your whole body. You can't do it in 5 minutes. But you could do 5 minutes and work your legs, and 5 minutes the next day and work your back, and then 5 minutes working on your shoulders, and then just kind of bounce around from day to day. It's going to help you out, and you're probably going to enjoy this a lot more. If you think about how much time you're wasting sitting down and doing other stuff, you're going to get a lot more benefits out of this. It's just maybe not as enjoyable as sitting on the couch, but put it on the floor, watch your TV, and the time will fly by, okay? Have fun with it, guys.